Dave Larkin, it has been a long time since we've got to talk Dallas Crane with you. Welcome back.
Yeah. No, great to be back. Great to see you again. Yeah.
Trouble Knows My Name. That's the song that's just dropped. Let's start with the new music. What was the spark behind the new song?
Oh, it's just a spark behind any new song. It's like, you punch them out and about 1 out of 10 is kind of the one you would continue with. And this one was the latest one. We thought, oh, that one sounds good. And the spark, I'm always writing songs. I've got like drives full of stuff that will never see the light of day, mostly for good reason. But in our case, this is a really easy way for us to just sort of keep alive without sort of doing the whole album slog, which is something we're still doing in the background. But
there is a sixth album slog going on, though, isn't there?
That's what the papers are saying.
You better talk to your publicist about that. That's what he's writing.
No, there is. Like, I think, Paul, it's just, I think I was asked about this the other day, and it's just getting a gang that can run up the race together. A gang of songs, and we've definitely got enough songs. It's just whether we've got enough to make, a good posse on a record. So yeah, like it's a work in progress. But yeah, we're looking at early to mid next year, probably more mid next year for a release of our sixth album. We'll
talk about this song then. The title suggests a brush with chaos. Is the song autobiographical, metaphorical, or a bit of both?
No, it's like anything when you write a song. You sort of start out with sort of phonetics, and then you get to a place, and then you start singing a line. You go, "What's that line?" And then I remember the line from years ago when I went to my only trip to the magistrates court was to contest a fine that was putting me over 12 points, and I'm waiting there with my my lawyer, because I'd done over 12 points. I was about to lose my license, and I was contesting one of the fines which put me over the 12 points. So I was just going to argue that while that's in dispute, can I not be disqualified? And I was successful in the case, but the cases that were before me were hilarious. All these like petty thieves and all these kind of two-bit Dennis Denudo lawyers in the courtroom with their clients, and this one guy gets up and the judge has said, it's you again, and he goes, yeah, well, Trouble Knows My Name. And I thought, oh, that's hilarious. And the whole court just laughed because I think he messed up his cliche, because, the cliche is Trouble's my middle name or whatever. And it just stuck with me as a funny line, and just to sort of, as a memory of that day, like I said, it just pops in your head. Sometimes these things just come to your head from like wherever they come from, and so it's loosely based around that incident. Yeah.
And had you never got to 12 points on your driver's license, this song never would have existed.
Pretty much, yeah. We used to like, I don't know if I should be saying this, but we used to trade out points. Like if one of the band members was high on points, we'd take one for the team. So we'd just go around the band, see who had the least points, and they'd take one for the team. Oh yeah, I was driving. So they were many years ago though, Paul. We're a lot more mature than that now, and responsible. And that's old Dallas Crane. New Dallas Crane wouldn't do those kind of things anymore.
Absolutely not. So how does Trouble Knows My Name, how's it fit in with the broader direction of where you think you're heading with this sixth album?
It fits in terms of like it's hard. It's not really stylistically like too far out of the brief for Dallas Crane. It's just I think now, like as we write, there's more of a focus on just now that we have the power to sort of write at home and produce at home, it forces you to just really trim and really look at how songs are sequenced and how things are sequenced and how you write. In my case, it's changed my writing habits a bit, which is good. And I'm getting stuff done a lot quicker now, as far as just not keeping non-essential things in songs and not having this great build-up for these 5 days that you've booked in a studio. So it's definitely sort of influenced the way I'm writing. How does it reflect with the other stuff? I don't know. It's one of there's 2 columns of songs in my hard drive. There's the good ones and there's the not so good ones, and the good so it's in the good column at the moment. So hopefully it's got a few more mates in there when the album comes out.
Yeah, we're a long way down the track in between albums. What about sonically? Is there any experimentation that you've tried out with the new music and the new recordings that wasn't available for you, say, back in 2015?
Experimentation. I mean, look, we're essentially, what we're good at is guitar writing and rock and roll, and we're not the kind of band that's about to come out with Kid A. It's not our thing. It doesn't mean we won't try different things. It just means that we like to record and write what we can go and take out on the stage. So the live show sells the album, and the album sells the live show. So it's fairly uncomplicated on that front. But as far as for us, it's more about the maturity in the writing and just the way we structure songs is the kind of, the growth part of it, I suppose, more so than bringing in a guitar or anything like that, or any sort of and I'm certainly not against trying anything else on that front, but at the end of the day, we don't want to kind of confuse or dilute what we are, which is a honest to God rock and roll band, and like I said, one thing selling the other and perpetuating each other's part of the deal. So yeah, but yeah, look, there's lots of really great songs in the works, which I'm really happy with, and we've got multiple contributors in the band now, which is good. So yeah, hopefully it's was worth the wait.
You're only doing 3 shows in 2025. Why such a limited run?
That's a great question. We were going to do a larger run. Problem is now, with anyone touring, you'll probably find this with a lot of artists, is traveling. Just putting on a gig now is almost double of what it used to be. Like even 5 years ago, just the amount you pay for flights, you've got to pay your own public liability now with gigs. Like you're looking at about $3,000 or $4,000 before we even get on stage, interstate. And for us, if we're going to go interstate, we have to, like any small business, just have to sit down and go, this is the break-even point. Are we going to go up the coast and around if something falls below the break-even point? And the answer is no. We're just got to make sure that what we're doing is worthy of the effort. So obviously the Corner and the Foves one is a nice easy one for us. Not what I say nice easy one, it's a great lineup, and the tickets have respectfully sold pretty well with that one. And Adelaide's been another really strong market for us for years. But yeah, we haven't gone right around just on this one, just because if it was an album release, yes, definitely. But for sort of just poking your heads up for a single release and a bit of a say hello, you've got to choose really carefully what we do. And at this stage, we're not going to stay. Other than next week, we're doing Hoodoo Gurus in Sydney next week. But we're not taking it much further. That was a long answer to a short question. So.
Well, let's drill down on that a bit, because we're talking about Sydney, Melbourne, and Adelaide. Let's go to Melbourne first. The Corner Hotel, AFL Grand Final evening. What sort of an atmosphere are you expecting for that night?
Well, we did the night before the public holiday, and it's normally a good one because normally we would not traditionally do Thursday gigs. We would always try and get a weekend slot, but given there's a public holiday the next day, it's kind of the unofficial first barbecue of the summer, grand final, and I think after people have gone through, especially in Melbourne, a long cold winter, and throw in all the shitty news stories that have been around for the last year, and it's a good opportunity for people to go, oh God, let's just go out again and see a rock and roll band. And we've done it a couple of times over the years on that weekend, and it seems to work really well. It's also really good to just pick a night where you're not in competition with 1,000 other bands to get your ticket sales. So that's kind of the vibe. Without it being too footy themed, it's more just sort of timing themed, really.
Yeah. What about Manly? Yeah. Manly, you're playing with the Hoodoo Gurus. What's it been sharing the stage with them?
Oh, look, they're amazing. I mean, when you get to tour with bands like that, they've been doing it for so long. Their crew are the Guru's crew are just amazing to work with. Everything's so professional. They're really helpful. They're big supporters of Dallas Crane, and they've thrown us gigs for a few years now. We did their tour last year for the Stone Age Romeos reissue, whatever it was, anniversary, and this is a band that just has not lost their step. Age does not weary them. It's just incredible. Dave just still nails every note. The band just sounds amazing, plays amazing. So for us, it's awesome. Their crowd really likes Dallas Crane, and it's great to play with anyone of that caliber. So yeah, we always enjoy gigs with Gurus and the ilk for that reason. Yeah.
And Adelaide and Melbourne seem to have a stronger connection than Melbourne and Sydney or Melbourne and Brisbane. How important is it keeping that Adelaide connection together for you?
Adelaide for us is fantastic. It's a really fantastic local community there. It's a no bullshit local community there. I think one of the things that the larger cities struggle with, especially now, is if Dallas Crane are going to put on a gig in Sydney, we'll be looking for a 300 to 400 size venue. Let's just say hypothetically the Lansdowne. The prospect to your fans is, and most of your fans have moved way out of town because it's very expensive to live in Sydney. Not many would be owning in the city or nearby the city, like the old days where we all lived in Newtown and Marrickville. Like, it's very hard to sustain that. I'm not speaking for all of them, but generally you're asking someone to come out, get in a cab for an hour each way, see the band, buy some merch, drink some beer, and go home. It's a $200 or $300 night, so it's a lot harder to sell. Whereas Adelaide is just, there's the block of the city, it's an Uber down the road, it's not expensive to live. It is a lot tighter community, similar to Melbourne with our sort of music precincts here. And that's one of the challenges we face up there in general, and Brisbane as well, is just finding people and just selling something to them that is worthy of them, sticking their hands in their wallets for the night. So, yeah, so that's why Adelaide's a nice one for us, I guess.
Dallas Crane have been around since the 90s. What do you see when you look back at Lent now?
Oh, God. I don't even think about that album. Lent was our first. I mean, Lent's not available online for a reason. I mean, it's not a bad record, but it's completely unrelated to where we wound up as a band. But look, I look back on Lent, and that was such a magical time doing our first record. It's you never get to do your first record twice, obviously, and that was a great period of enlightenment, just as young blokes, but also just to learn the ropes and to it was our first foray into the music industry. So I look back at it extremely fondly, but there's no reissue of that coming out anytime soon.
What about the self-titled 2004 album? I guess that's the fan favorite album to this day. Do you still feel the impact when you perform those songs live? What are you getting from them?
I think it's like when you see any band and you go and I don't think they particularly have much better songs than any other record we put out. I just think that song sounded fantastic. I mean, that album sounded fantastic for a few reasons. There was a band that was super well rehearsed. That was we'd gone and written that album. We'd gone and hired a house in the country, and we just we'd done the thing where we just focused and we just went into the studio. We absolutely just, all we had to do was go in and play, and that really comes out on that record because it's a real kind of performance, more so than us working out stuff in there and chopping bits out here and there. So there was that, and there was that real kind of confident air at the time that we'd written a really good bunch. So I think when that came out, it was at a really great time in Aussie music, where guitar music, which had seemingly gone away in the late 90s, had just had this resurgence for whatever reason. And we just happened to be there at the right time, I think. And I think it just, us and a few other bands of that time just managed to be at the right place in the right time and capture the imagination. But yeah, they still are. There's still songs off for that record that get placed later in the set for that reason, I suppose.
What about the signing to Albert Productions? Back then, how has that affected the trajectory of the band?
It was huge back then, and it's always a great thing to sort of start your bio with, that you were signed to AC/DC's label, and look, that was it was huge. There were so many things that was. We got to. Not only did we get to sort of, use a lot of that old gear and, be in that family record company and have the support, but it was, it was the first time, we'd had, I guess professionals working with us to create a product, and, it wasn't us sort of borrowing money off mum and dad to get a record out. It was like someone was stumping up the cash for us to record through all this nice gear and integrate us into this new network of the Australian media, I suppose, and that was massive for us. There was undoubtedly, and at the time we were the first. I don't know if we were the first, but we were one of the more, I don't want to say prominent, but notable signings to Albert's in a long time. And it had the radio take up as well, which was also immense for us. Just the airplay that record got across Triple J and others around Australia was just, it's set us up. It's the reason we're still here today. There's no two ways about that. So, it was huge. There was the Alberts signing, and the Alberts connection was a whole part of, a lot of things that went right for us at the right time. Yeah.
So we've got the new song, Trouble Knows My Name, hopefully a new album in 2026, and 3 dates, Adelaide, Sydney and Melbourne. So good to see a bit of activity for the first time in a long, long time, Dave. And
we hope
many more 2026 Dallas Crane stories to come.
Yes, mate. Thank you. And good to chat.